gender looks, Honorable Speaker, it is despicable. We only have elected representatives in this House. And Honorable Speaker, for one to be locked behind this door to be called a member of National Assembly, especially for a woman member, Honorable Speaker, it costs more than enough if it is not for the life of that particular woman. I beg you, Papa, there is a tendency that is coming up in this House of members wanting to entertain the House using the gender of the woman. And this we will not allow as women leaders of this country. Honorable Speaker, when a member takes time to say, don't look my direction, I do not want you. This is not a house of wanting each other. This is not a house of sexuality, Honorable Speaker. This is not a house where people want to come and talk about sexual insinuations, Honorable Speaker. Kenyans are looking up to us to debate on matters that are current, to debate on matters that affect the nation, to move the nation forward, and not to talk about sexuality, Honorable Speaker.
Your point, Lillian.
I thank you. I thank you, Papa.
Farah, what is your point of order?
My point of order, Mr. Speaker, is actually to inform my colleagues on both sides. We only have the dignity we have right now of being called Waheshimiwa because we are in a dignified, august institution. The biggest indignity you can bring in this House is for members of Parliament to be on their feet when the Speaker is on his feet. Whatever the issue is, whatever the debate is, you can raise it and say, was it in order for an honorable member to do ABCD? You can interrogate and debate anything that is there in the House. But for God's sake, when the chair stands and the Speaker says order, you can't have both sides of the House here pointing fingers at one another and behaving like this, I don't know, in a football match, in the FA, in UK and other places, because in Africa, we don't even do that. And I want to call on and beg, to begin with the two leaders of this House, the majority leader and the minority leader, to please show a good example in this House for the rest. Please, for God's sake, don't address a gallery outside this House. Let us debate the future of this country in this House, because the future is vested in our hands. It's not vested in the hand. There's the executive of of Ruto or Raila. The future of this country is vested in our hands. We are the ones who will determine how this country is going to govern for posterity. So for God's sake, more than anything else, when both sides rise and the Speaker is on his feet, and you are pointing fingers at one another, led by none other than the leaders of the House on both sides, that is a very bad example. The Speaker says, ordinarily, he would not want to spend that. Personally, having had an experience as a Deputy Speaker, I would not hesitate to send everybody out of the House, if not for another reason, to maintain the dignity of this institution, because other people will come and will take over from that. So let us have, I do understand that we have issues. I know that the minority is a minority in its own right here, and the majority cannot determine who heads the minority or who does not head. It's a fact of life. That's why it's called the minority leadership.
You are
the majority
debate, Farah.
Order. Okay.
Close that debate. Order. Next order. Next order.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Thursday, April 13th, 2023. Reports of the Auditor General and financial statements in respect of the following institutions for the financial year ended 30th June 2022. 1, State Department for Development of the Arid and Semi-Arid Lands, ASALs. 2, Kenya Off-Grid Solar Access Project for Underserved Counties, Ministry of Energy and SNV, Netherlands Development Organization. 3, Roads 2000 Phase 2 project, Kenya Rural Roads Authority. 4, Green Zones Development Support Project Phase 2, Kenya Forest Service. 5, integrated program to build resilience to climate change and adaptive capacity for vulnerable communities in Kenya, National Environment Management Authority. 6 is a global fund to contribute to achieving Vision 2030 through universal access to comprehensive HIV prevention, treatment, and care, NFM2 program, the National Treasury. 7 is the Enable Youth Kenya program, State Department for Crop Development and Agricultural Research. 8, Agricultural Sector Development Support Program 2, State Department for Crop Development and Agricultural Research. 8, Agricultural. 9 is support to the technical and vocational education training and entrepreneurship under the State Department for Vocational and Technical Training. 10, support to road sector policy. 10th EDF Rural Roads Rehabilitation Project in Kenya, Kenya Rural Roads Authority. 11, Eastern and Southern Africa Higher Education Centers of Excellence, State Department for University Education and Research. 12, Coastal Region Water Security and Climate Resilience Project, Ministry of Water and Sanitation and Irrigation. 13, Water and Sanitation Development Project, Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation. 14, Program for Legal Empowerment and Aid Delivery, State Law Office and Department of Justice. 15, Multinational Kenya-Tanzania Power Interconnection Project, Kenyan Component, Kenya Electricity Transmission Company Limited. 16, Bagamoyo, Horohoro, Lungalunga, Malindi Road Projects, Phase 1, Kenya National Highways Authority. 17, Kenya Informal Settlement Improvement Project, State Department for Housing and Urban Development. 18, Sector Informal Settlements Improvement Project, State Department for Housing and Urban Development. 19, Promotion of Youth Employment and Vocational Training in Kenya, TVET Phase 1 Project, State Department for Vocational Training and Technical Training. 20, Secondary Education Quality Improvement Project, State Department for Early Learning and Basic Education. 21, the Kenya Development Response to Displacement Impacts Project, State Department for Development of Arid and Semi-Arid Lands. 22, Establishment of Kenya Advanced Institute of Science and Technology Project under the Ministry of Education, State Department for University Education and Research. 23, Mombasa Mariakani Highway Project, Kwa Jomvu, under Kenya National Highways Authority. 24, State Department for Industrialization. And 25, IPOA, Independent Policing Oversight Authority. And finally, the Veterinary Services Development Fund. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Majority, the usual Thursday statement.
Yes, Honorable Speaker, thank you. And pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44.2a, I rise to give the following statement on behalf of the House Business Committee, which met on Tuesday, 11th April 2023, to prioritize the business for consideration during the week. Honorable Speaker, as members are aware, yesterday, Professor Kithure Kindiki, Cabinet Secretary for the Ministry of Interior and National Administration, was the first Cabinet Secretary to appear before the National Assembly plenary to answer questions and expound on policies under his docket. I would like to thank members for their presence and active participation, which contributed to the success of this new process. Honorable Speaker, with regard to the business for next week, on Tuesday, the House is expected to continue with debate on the report of the Departmental Committee on Labor on the inquiry regarding sexual harassment of female workers in tea estates in Kericho County, general debate on the proposal to amend the Constitution and the standing orders, and the second reading of the Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendments Bill 2022, should they not be concluded today. Honorable Speaker, as I had indicated earlier in the week, I will be updating the House every Thursday on which Cabinet Secretaries are scheduled to appear during the upcoming Wednesday afternoon plenary session. Therefore, in accordance with the provisions of Standing Order 42A, 5 and 6, I wish to convey that the following cabinet secretaries are scheduled to appear before the House on the as follows. One will be the Cabinet Secretary for Roads and Transport to respond to the following questions. Question number 01820 regarding erection.
Again, we believe in the next few days, we will be able to have enough evidence